Hopefully that little short 30-second exercise was calming and anxiety reducing. I have to tell you, that's not my world. There's a lot of talk about meditation and mindfulness and yoga and all these kinds of things going around recently because I think, like McManus was talking about, we're struggling with how to be human. Um, and I've recognized in my own self, like that those kinds of things could be beneficial. But it's a little bit of a new area. Um, but what part of you was involved in what you just did in those 30 seconds?
Too much of my thinking.
Okay, so your mind kept going. Your brain was on overdrive.
Then
Yeah.
my brain remembered something, and I got all excited because something that's happening today, and then that excitement led to other thoughts, and then it was no longer meditation; it was thinking.
Well, it depends on how you define meditation because, like in the Eastern tradition, the goal is to empty your mind. I think in maybe a Western and Christian meditation tradition, the goal might be more to quiet and focus your mind, not to empty it. Like kind of the distinction he made in the video, like I don't want to rid myself of imagination and emotion and love and all the rest of it. I want to figure out what I'm supposed to do with those things, right? Um, yeah, Tim.
So on that emptying your mind thing, I can't do that. Like I literally cannot stop thinking. I've tried. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
You can't get my brain to stop thinking about stuff.
It's very unnatural, and I think that's why, like in those Eastern meditation traditions, like it takes so much time and practice. And you know, I don't know. I haven't thought a whole lot about this. I think there's something good about quiet and stillness, and like at least slowing our minds down, even if we
Yeah.
can't get them empty.
Mm-hmm.
And a certain amount of awareness of what we're thinking and all that. But okay, so your brain was still engaged. I mean, 30 seconds, you can't do much in 30 seconds. What other parts of your self came became evident to you? You felt excitement, you said.
Well, yeah, and I mean before that, when I first, because I had practiced some pretty heavy duty, uh, being present and not allowing your mind to think or anything, just being present in the moment. For some studies that I did, some schooling that I did,
Mm-hmm.
and so the first thing I think I noticed was just sounds got louder. So,
Mm.
everything, once you quiet your mind, you start noticing the things around you because you stop the haze that you put over your head
Sure.
to focus on something else goes away.
Yeah,
Kind
I
of.
heard the air coming through the vents,
Yeah.
right? So there's inside here, and then there's our senses that sort of get maybe turned up a little bit, and we get in touch with them.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else feel emotions or like notice emotions that you're having that maybe in the rush of the day or in the distraction of, I mean, it was a good distraction, but what we've been talking about, like you weren't thinking about them, but they kind of bubbled back up. None of you feel anything. Okay, well, yes.
I didn't, but it's like my security center flipped on, and I was like, all right, where can I tell everyone in the room is by sound right
Yeah. Is there a way to distract myself right now from myself?
now? Yeah, maybe a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. I've heard this was really profound to me. I've heard addiction described as anything we use to keep ourselves from facing ourselves. So chew on that one for the day. Grace, how did you feel in that 30 seconds?
Um, I don't know the exact. I guess I just felt more calm. I was kind of more aware of like, well, okay, my cat's on my lap right now, so I just kind of like closed my eyes and I was just kind of focused on like she was purring and stuff, and I just kind of felt like, I don't know, like I've been busy all day, so just slowing down for a second and just being happy in the moment.
Okay, good. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was good.
I think that's part of it. Okay, so that was all, none of that was planned, but it was all a segue to talk about stress. Okay, and I think it's a pertinent time to talk about stress. I've been corresponding with some of you and, nailing down due dates in the upcoming week for assignments that are coming. And, it's that time of year. So I'm going to, and this is all part of a discussion about of what we are, right? That's why I was trying to tap into the different pieces of, what parts of you kind of came out in that moment of awareness, and so stress. Another video. There are lots of these out there. I found out when I put this into YouTube, the effects of stress. There were quite a few. So I picked one near the top that seemed to be pretty good. So here you go. Note some observations and comments. Did I push the button to share my sound?
Must not have.
Okay, let me try that again. In fact, let me go back here. And this one, yep, all right. Here we go. Take two.
Cramming for a test? Trying to get more done than you have time to do? Stress is a feeling we all experience when we are challenged or overwhelmed. But more than just an emotion, stress is a hardwired physical response that travels throughout your entire body. In the short term, stress can be advantageous, but when
You've got to be kidding me.
when activated too often or too long, your primitive fight or flight stress response not only changes your brain, but also damages many of the other organs and cells throughout your body. Your adrenal gland releases the stress hormones cortisol, epinephrine, also known as adrenaline, and norepinephrine. As these hormones travel through your bloodstream, they easily reach your blood vessels and heart. Adrenaline causes your heart to beat faster and raises your blood pressure, over time causing hypertension. Cortisol can also cause the endothelium, or inner lining of blood vessels, to not function normally. Scientists now know that this is an early step in triggering the process of atherosclerosis, or cholesterol plaque buildup in your arteries. Together, these changes increase your chances of a heart attack or stroke. When your brain senses stress, it activates your autonomic nervous system. Through this network of nerve connections, your big brain communicates stress to your enteric or intestinal nervous system. Besides causing butterflies in your stomach, this brain-gut connection can disturb the natural rhythmic contractions that move food through your gut, leading to irritable bowel syndrome, and can increase your gut's sensitivity to acid, making you more likely to feel heartburn. Via the gut's nervous system, stress can also change the composition and function of your gut bacteria, which may affect your digestive and overall health. Speaking of digestion, does chronic stress affect your waistline? Well, yes. Cortisol can increase your appetite. It tells your body to replenish your energy stores with energy-dense foods and carbs, causing you to crave comfort foods. High levels of cortisol can also cause you to put on those extra calories as visceral or deep belly fat. This type of fat doesn't just make it harder to button your pants. It is an organ that actively releases hormones and immune system chemicals called cytokines that can increase your risk of developing chronic diseases such as heart disease and insulin resistance. Meanwhile, stress hormones affect immune cells in a variety of ways. Initially, they help prepare to fight invaders and heal after injury, but chronic stress can dampen the function of some immune cells, make you more susceptible to infections, and slow the rate you heal. Want to live a long life? You may have to curb your chronic stress. That's because it has even been associated with shortened telomeres, the shoelace tip ends of chromosomes that measure a cell's age. Telomeres cap chromosomes to allow DNA to get copied every time a cell divides without damaging the cell's genetic code. And they shorten with each cell division. When telomeres become too short, a cell can no longer divide, and it dies. As if all that weren't enough, chronic stress has even more ways it can sabotage your health, including acne, hair loss, sexual dysfunction, headaches, muscle tension, difficulty concentrating, fatigue, and irritability. So, what does all this mean for you? Your life will always be filled with stressful situations, but what matters to your brain and entire body is how you respond to that stress. If you can view those situations as challenges you can control and master, rather than as threats that are insurmountable, you will perform better in the short run and stay healthy in the long run.
Okay, let's make some observations about that, and then we'll come back to where do we see effects of stress in terms of what aspects of our being?
What do you mean? What parts of you are affected by stress? They said it's stress is a response to, and they basically framed it in, well, I'll let go ahead, Tim, get us rolling.
Emotional aspects. So when I've been like the most stressed in my life, your thoughts start going to places of like self-harm and things like that. It's not good.
Okay. Yeah, at the end, he kind of summarized it all and said, you get irritable and maybe anxious, depressed, so all those emotions, right? Yeah, Matt.
And then another effect he said was it can start to harm your organs and then start the process of being to clog your arteries and such.
Okay, so there are physiological, biological impacts, negative. Okay. Yeah. One thing to note is everyone deals with stress, and they said this at the beginning. The difference is the bad, harmful effects come from chronic, prolonged stress. Like we never get a break from it, right? So there's emotional, there's kind of biological, physiological, anything else that either came out in that video or that you've experienced?
I think that's stress obviously affects everyone differently, but I think it over prolonged especially affects us where our links are weakest. So where we have the most stress or weakest parts of, because everyone has strong parts in their or organs in their body, and everyone's has parts that are a little more weaker or stressed. So when you get stressed, a stress that is applied to you is going to affect you differently because it depends on what health your body's in.
Sure.
But it's a whole body thing because your emotions are intimately connected to your organs and to your rest of your body.
Yeah.
So it's a whole body experience.
Yeah. And that's precisely my point. That's like the whole day right there, is that we're integrated beings. Mind, body, emotions, they all interact with and affect one another. Nancy, when she typed in the chat, she said everything is affected, right? Everything is affected. They talk about in like leadership stuff and like time management stuff. They talk about take breaks during your day because you can't think as well when
Oh yeah.
you're stressed. Or take it the
That's
other
a
way.
good one.
If you don't nourish your body, if you don't eat protein in the morning and get your brain going, then you won't be as productive and creative. That creativity and imagination that McManus was talking about, like, he looked like a pretty healthy guy. He takes care of, I think he's doing holistically everything he needs to do to set him up to have amazing creativity and the ability to communicate. Like that's his gift, right? His communication, obviously, and probably leadership and things like that. But like if he didn't take care of himself, I don't think he would have the capacity to do what he does. When I was talking with a psychologist recently, and one of the things he said to me was, stress takes any problem and makes it worse, right? So no matter what it is, it just, and again, chronic stress, like stress also helps us get our assignments done, right? But if we have a lot of assignments, maybe more than what is manageable for 4 months straight, and we never take days off, then in month 3, we're going to start feeling worn out, right? And some of those effects of like my mood and my anxiety and my anger might flare up, and I might stop eating well and exercising, which has been really hard right now, right? Because all of our patterns and rhythms of life and our health clubs are all closed. And it's getting cold. So it's harder to find the right time of day to go outside and do something and do like a healthy stress coping mechanism. Okay, I'm getting off on a tangent, but my point is, it affects everything. And it's not just stress. Everything affects everything. Let me comment on a couple of other things. And the point of me saying this is that there was a time when kind of the prevailing wisdom was a more divided approach to human issues. And you guys have grown up in a generation that's kind of recovering this idea that we're integrated. But like the old school approach would say, okay, you're anxious. Well, maybe you just don't have enough faith, because Jesus said, in Matthew, don't be anxious. God, feeds the birds and cares for the flowers. And so, like, if you're anxious or worried, that's a spiritual issue. Just do the Philippians thing. What does he say?
Be anxious for nothing.
Yeah, but in all things, present your requests to God with thanksgiving. Just follow the spiritual pattern, and your anxiety will go away. Okay. Or maybe a scientific approach would say anxiety is caused by some chemical imbalance in the brain. We can medicate that, and that's the issue. Take the medicine, you'll be fine. Right? But today, how would you, I was going to write in things, but I won't. I'll just leave them blank and we can talk about them. How would you say, what are possible causes of anxiety? Just shout a few out.
Well, first and foremost is our lack of nutritious and healthy food in our country, and instead food that's filled with chemicals, which
Okay.
cause actual imbalances in our brain.
Okay, so the brain thing aren't just isolated. Maybe they're caused by diet. Okay, and maybe they would have said that before, but it's still that's one slice of the factors is physiological, biological, nutritional. What else might be a cause of anxiety?
The culture, like the American culture, like the stay busy and work long hours.
Yeah. Okay. You're not valuable unless you're busy. Like we have this thing where it's like a virtue to be over busy. Who thought that was a good idea? Okay. What else?
You said specifically you're not valuable. Something I always catch myself with is I get anxiety about being sure I can do things because I feel like, if I'm not valuable, I can't be loved. And that's something weird we have stuck in the back of our heads.
Okay, so that's sort of a mental piece, but it's also you're getting into the relational side of things. How many people get stressed or anxious as a result of relational tension?
See, and how I handle it, because everyone's different, how I handle that is if somebody's yelling at me, or I just emotionally shut off. I'll be there present, but emotionally I shut off. And so that I don't, because that's how my body reacts, because I don't like to react emotionally, I guess.
Yeah. So, and that's a common stress response, right? The fight or flight thing, right? And you're talking about flight. I'm going to shut down. I'm just going to stop feeling until this is over so that I can then go on with life and process it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about depression for a minute, because that's often linked with anxiety. And sometimes it's also given like a spiritual cause. Maybe you're being oppressed by malevolent spirits, or maybe you just don't have the joy of the Lord, right? Or again, maybe it's a biological chemical imbalance or something like that. But in the same way, all those different things that we talked about can be factors, or can be fruits, or can be in this vicious cycle where they're factors and fruits. It's the relational stress, it's the feelings of inadequacy, which lead me to go eat my comfort food, which doesn't do anything for my motivation to go get physical exercise. And like the vortex sucks me into this state of depression, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a multiplicity of causes. Then diabetes is one that's kind of close to me because my dad's been diabetic for a long time. I think primarily it was because he ate too much fast food and drank too much soda. Like diabetes and sugar that's the cause biologically.
It is the cause. That and too much poor quality red meat.
Yeah, that might have been part of it too. I can see that. A lot of McDonald's hamburgers are pretty poor quality red meat. But then there was also, like, when this all started, it was like a peak stress, I don't know, decade in my dad's life. He's had a lot of different stress over his life, but I can remember, man, he wasn't sleeping. He was eating poorly. He was, there was financial stress. There was kids. He's trying to raise 3 kids and still be married, and like the perfect storm, right? And so for him, the weakest link in the chain was his endocrine system and his pancreas and whatever else, that couldn't keep up and shuts down, and he gets diabetes. And then, well, the rest is history. But so there used to be, like I said, this way of looking at life where we can chalk it up to one thing. There's a problem, there's a cause, do something to fix that cause, and the problem should go away. We also, it kind of sat well with this world where you sort of live in these different spheres, you know. You got your home life, you got your work life, and we kind of now know that even that is a false categorization. You're going to bring your stress from work home, or you're going to bring your relational stress from home to work, and it's going to affect your ability to do your job. So, and all this is a result of kind of the recognition that we're integrated people. So we probably look something more like this, where every piece and part of us is turning around and affecting every other piece. And I like the gears because they all affect one another. But also it's not even that they're necessarily distinct like all these circles show. Maybe this is a better picture where it's a bunch of pieces of who we are that are all wrapped up together. And
Yeah,
in that, it's almost like they meld and affect each other. So
Yeah.
since this is not anything new to you guys, I won't belabor that point anymore. But to me, it's important when we come to like what you guys watched and heard about the Shema. Hopefully, if you haven't, I encourage you to watch those videos that were in the syllabus. The parts of a human that kind of get highlighted in the Shema prayer, they overlap and intersect and interlock. And I mean, think of a Venn diagram. It's not like I go to work and I do my my preparation for teaching, and I'm loving God with my mind at that point, and not the rest of me, right? And so what I want to do when we come back next time, we probably won't have time to do this, but actually maybe we can do this real quick. Let me share a different thing. I think we have just enough time to do this. Start thinking about the word soul and what it means and what its word associations are. And we're going to make a quick list right here. You're gonna just shout things out. I'm gonna see if I can get you guys' pictures back. Video panel, yeah. I'm gonna make a quick list, and there we go. Go ahead. Tell me things you think of when you hear the word soul.
I mean, your being, like the guys on Bible Project said, your essence.
Yeah.
I don't really think that's a fair word to describe our inner being, but.
What else?
Oh, Nancy said eternity.
Okay. What else?
Something indefinable.
Oh, indefinable. Okay. Is it something immaterial?
Yeah. This couldn't even be something mindful and emotional.
Something that's immaterial, like you said, but still affects the material very deeply.
Okay. I'm gonna say connected just to make that into a word. Like, okay. How about your psyche? We've heard from the video about the word nephesh. That's the Hebrew that sometimes gets translated soul. In Greek, it's the word psyche, from which we get psychology. But in Greek, it's kind of like nephesh. It means like sort of yourself, at your core, who you are. Any others? We have a few more seconds to shoot out ideas.
I know you could heart.
Okay. Heart is definitely related. I should just share the screen.
Ooh.
Let's go. Have you guys ever done one of these? This is my first time, so I hope this works.
What are you doing?
We're gonna make a Wordle.
A Wordle. What the
Yeah, I don't know
heck?
if it's working. The only resident of spoke for Java. Oh, Firefox. You can download and so. Oh, it's not going to work without Firefox. Crap. Okay, well, I was going to make, you know those, here, I'll give you a Google image of it. It was going to turn out like that,
Ah,
but the effect is now lost and we're stuck with a blank, boring white page that does nothing for your soul. Oh, how about, oh, what the heck? How about music, culture, like soul, food, what's the, like, Southern?
I know there's a richness of character when you think of soul.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna make, that's a good phrase. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll pick this back up. It's Thursday, so I guess it'll be Monday Tuesday, or maybe not even late, not even then, because I think we're gonna have 2 presentations, and we're supposed to talk about sin next week, next time. Is it next time? Maybe we have 2 more sessions on anthropology. If so, that will be helpful. But anyway, I'll try to pick back up this discussion, and because I just want to, the reason I bring it up is I want to clarify, soul is a slippery word for English speakers when we're trying to really get at what the biblical notions behind our translations where we use the word soul are. And I think you caught that in the video, but there's a little more to say. So I'll shut up now. Have a great day. Peace be with your soul.